This is day one of our Lazy Six Figure Photographer series, and today I'm just going to tell you a little bit about how I got to where I am. Let me close this. So back in 2016 is whenever I started photographing people, and that was just a hobby thing. And then I had people asking me, can you shoot my family? Can you do seniors? Can you do this, that? So I was like, oh, I'll charge $35. I'll take pictures and I will put them on a disc for people. And this time I was not using Lightroom, Photoshop, nothing. I was using like this, it was called GIMP, I think. I had no idea what I was doing. And I was using a point and shoot Canon camera. Point and shoot, not a real professional one. Obviously, because if I'm only charging $35, I'm only going to have a shitty camera and shitty quality photos, right? Fast forward 2017, I got my posing and my structure better with how I wanted my photos to look. But again, I was still only using the point and shoot camera. 2018, I was like, I really want to make a business out of this. So I got my sales tax license. I got my business license. I am not an LLC. I don't feel like I need an LLC for my business. So I'm a sole proprietor. I am myself doing business as. Got my insurance locked down, all the business stuff that you need. So if you're watching this, you don't have any of that, you need to get that. Anyway, 2018, I was like, I'm already shooting in our fields on the farm because I didn't have a studio. I was just shooting outdoors. So I got one of those sheds. I financed it. I was paying like, $100 a month for a she shed. That thing, she wasn't pretty. She wasn't pretty. I am a lazy girl, so I finished it with, there was no ceiling, so I was like, let's just put black fabric. We used cheap outdoor siding for the walls. Like, it was bad, but it worked. Everyone loved it. Everyone was like, this is so cute. And I was really, imposter syndroming real bad because I was like, this is not a good studio. Like, this is shit. Why is everybody paying me $4,000 to be here? But they loved it. Because what I learned was people wanted my work and they wanted to work with me. They did not care where I was shooting. I didn't even have a bathroom at this point. So whenever I started, I had my price, I went through so much pricing in my business. You have to remember when you have your own business, you get to do what you want. So start at a pricing that makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable, but still makes you feel like you're able to attain it. You know what I mean? So I think at this point, my pricing was at like $600 for like my lowest package. And I had 3 tiers of pricing at that point. So it was like $600, $1,200, and then like $3,800. Makes no sense, but that's what I wanted to do. But I realized when I was, when I had, the clientele come in, I was selling a lot of the $3,000 packages. And I was like, oh, my work is good enough, I guess. So that's whenever I started really playing with my pricing. And where I'm at right now is where I've been at for a good 3 years now. So my pricing is something that I will explain to you guys through this series. But I left the she shed 3 years ago. I felt really bad imposter syndrome to the point that I wanted to close my business down. I was making like $180,000 a year in the she shed, and I was like, this isn't good enough. Like, something's broken. So what I did was I went and got a new studio down, like 25, 30 minutes away from me. It was in this big district, a lot of businesses. I mean, the courthouse was there. Lawyers' offices were there. It was like, I was like, this is the big times. Like, I succeeded. I have now succeeded. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I hated being down in the busy town. I hated people walking past my studio. I hated how it wasn't private, but I had a bathroom, and I was like, well, because I have a bathroom, this is success, right? All of my past clients that came down were like, I actually really liked your shed better than this. And I'm like, oh. And they're like, why did you move? And I'm like, because I thought this made me more professional. And they're like, it looks a little more professional, but your pictures were great in the shed. Like, it was cute. And then I was like, ew. Well, I didn't think that I was successful because I'm shooting out of a shed. Yeah. So fast forward to 2026, I am now back up at my she shed, except I'm now shooting out of a trailer. A trailer. Talk about imposter syndrome, not feeling good enough because of the stigma from society about trailers. Everyone loves it. I get to be outside again in the fields. And I just feel really creative where I'm at right now. So, moral of the story, today's series is touching a little bit on imposter syndrome, but it really is about where do you want to be? Where are you right now? Are you shooting outdoors? Do you want a studio? Do you want to stay outdoors? Because I'm telling you, I moved my studio back up so I can do most of my shooting outside. Do you want to do out of Airbnbs? Are you a senior photographer and you just want to do outdoors and at the school? Are you a wedding photographer? Are you engagement? Are you newborn? Newborn, you don't need a studio. You can go to their houses. There's a lot that you can do without a studio. So, my point is, if it's working for you, but you're in your mind of like, oh, I should be doing this, everybody else has this, you have to remember just because the person down the road from you has a big studio doesn't mean they're not drowning. You know, you want to work smarter, not harder. You want to work smarter to where you love what you do and you're not stressing. Because when I had my big fancy studio, I was like, oh my God, I got to make my rent. I got to pay these bills. Up where I'm at right now, I only have electricity and that's it. Because I own that studio. I paid on it for years, you know, so like I own it. Do you want a she shed? There are people who have turned the garages into a studio, basements. I saw a girl before say she makes $400,000 a year out of her basement. So I want you to think, where do I want to be in the next 5 years? Is what I'm doing right now what I want to do? Is this where I want to be? Or do I have goals to have a studio? What do I want my studio to look like? That's where you need to be. You have to think 5 years ahead. And the funny thing is 5 years ahead, I am back where I started. I should have just stayed there. But here is me in my little she shed with the farm behind me. I loved doing sessions here. This is what my old studio looked like, the one that, you know, my big fancy one. So I wanted to be down here for the windows. I really loved the windows, but it was not worth it to me to stay there. Where I'm at now, you can do a lot of outdoor stuff and it be super private. So I'm really happy to be back where I'm at. So moral of the story, do not let your imposter syndrome make you change things that are working for you. If it's working for you, then just figure out how to bump yourself up to the next step. So if you like what you're doing right now, you're just wanting to know the business side, do not let yourself trick you into thinking you need to have more. And don't worry about what other photographers are doing if yours is working, because theirs might not be working on the inside that you don't see. So if you've made it this far in the first video, leave a comment. Let me know how your imposter syndrome shows up for you. Let me know if you're indoor, outdoor, if you have a studio, if you want a studio in the future. Let me know where you're at, and I'd love to talk about that with you. Thanks for watching, and I'll drop another video tomorrow.